Welcome to Azeroth United, a weekly podcast about World of Warcraft. My name is Denethar, and I am your host. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Denethar, and this is episode 30. We've got a great show lined up for you today. There is a ton of news. Wow. Yeah, Blizzard is continuing on their springtime information dump. We've got news about Cataclysm Classic. We've got news about WoW in China. We've got news about patch 10.2.7. We've got news about Season of Discovery. We're just going to hit everything. So sit back, relax, and pull up a chair. And as always, if you have any questions or comments about the podcast, or if you have a particular topic that you'd like to hear discussed, please email me at denethar1@gmail.com, or you can leave a voice message by going to speakpipe.com/AzerothUnited. Also, if you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps out our distribution tremendously, so if you're inclined to do so, we'd be very grateful. Before we get to the news, I wanted to do a quick rundown of what I got up to last week in WoW. I did a lot of Season of Discovery last week. A lot. Not as much as I wanted. Not as much as I wanted, for sure. I got my Paladin to 44. That's as far as I got there. I did a bunch of stuff in retail. My wife finally got her Fearlath drop from Amir Drasil, so I was helping her farm the ridiculous material requirements for that. And I have crafters of appropriate skill level, so I was able to help her make the necessary crafted items for her Fearlath. So that was really cool. And I mean, it's a cool quest line. I just wish that Blizzard would implement the legendary a little bit differently. Like, maybe make it so that you get the quest right off the bat and the quest itself is time gated. That's fine. But, having it be RNG and then now you have to do this ridiculous quest line. I mean, people were talking about spending $500-600K gold on this. That's a bit much. That's was that like $40 of WoW token? Okay. WoW isn't pay to win, people. But seriously, really cool quest line. I actually really like it. It's just the legendary acquisition is a little borked. So I did give up on trying to get it for my Fury Warrior. I think she's going to have to be retired for Season 4 because I just don't have the energy to continue trying to pound my way into Mythic Plus on a Fury Warrior. It's not fun. But I did run an 18 on my Mistweaver Monk, which was cool. He's moving along. I'll do some Season 4 with him. I don't know how much, but I'll do a little bit. It's fun. The Mistweaver Monk is fun. Fist weaving is fun. Raid healing is not as much fun, but it's still pretty good. Did a little bit on the Monk. I started leveling my Warlock again. Got him up to about 64, I think. So apparently you can go over to the Primal Storms, wherever they happen to spawn. And I think they're supposed to be 2 at a time, but I've only been seeing 1. Anyway, the mobs are your same level. They're not hard to kill. They can be dangerous. And you'll get somewhere in the neighborhood of 2, 4, 6K XP with rested when you're killing the big guys. So pretty lucrative if you're trying to run through an alt before Season 4, which is what I'm trying to do. I don't know that I'm going to play my Warlock in Season 4, but I'd like to have the option. So I did some of those Primal Storms, and it really worked. Got almost an entire level just doing that for 10 minutes. So that's so the Blizzard nerfs the Nightmare Incursions and then buffs the Primal Storms in Modern WoW. But anyway, I did do some of the Nightmare Incursions on Season of Discovery as well, but not as much as I wanted. I had some things going on IRL, and it really just unfortunately detracted from my WoW time. But all of that stuff is behind me now, and looking forward to getting in and getting my hands dirty with not just what's going on in Season of Discovery and in Modern WoW, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna look at some of the PTR stuff this weekend, but we'll get into that a little bit later. All right, that's enough of that. We have a lot to talk about, so let's get into it.
It's time for the news.
In Blizzard news, okay, so the big news is, well, we have a few. Let's start with Blizzard news. Blizzard Entertainment and NetEase renew agreement to bring beloved titles back to China. Yes, that's right. We're going to get WoW back to China. So Microsoft Gaming and NetEase have worked on deepening their relationship, and yeah, so there's a few things like character restoration, and they're trying to work out all the details, but it looks like it's going to be sometime in summer of 2024. So I guess goodbye to all the Chinese players who were playing on Oceanic or European servers with a VPN. But you can go back to your regular characters now, so it's cool. That has to suck. It's the idea that you could just lose access to your WoW characters because of a political. Well, I guess it's a business dispute, but also political dispute. So, yeah, cool. Congratulations to Chinese players, and I think that's really great. And it's not just WoW. Obviously, they're getting all of the Blizzard titles back. So yeah, there's a press release that was put out by Blizzard, and I'll put that in the show notes if you feel like reading it. But it's a little dry. It's just all business talk. So, okay. In other news, Cataclysm Classic release was announced, so we will get the pre-patch on April 30th, which is just as I record this 20 days from now, and we will have Phase 1 launch on May 20th, which, whew, man, that's aggressive. But here's the thing. And we could talk about this more a little bit later, but I just wanted to highlight the roadmap that they gave us for Cataclysm Classic. So Phase 1 launch, May 20th. Phase 2, Rise of the Zandalari, is going to be in July. Phase 3, Rage of the Firelands, will be in October. And Phase 4, Hour of Twilight, is January. And that's it. That's Cataclysm. So, I mean, you want to talk about flying through content. That's going to be pretty fast. I mean, from October to January, that's what, 4 months for Firelands? Holy moly. Yeah. And, you know, as has been pointed out many times, Cataclysm's problem was not a lack of content. It was, I mean, there was some lack of content. We did miss a raid tier. There was supposed to be an underwater raid, apparently. But the biggest issue people had with it was losing the old world, and it's the same quest that you can go do in Modern WoW today. So there's no more classic feel to it. It's just WoW. So I mean, it's still technically classic, but yeah, it's definitely not my cup of tea. But certainly for somebody, this is their cup of tea. So yeah, Cataclysm Classic launches May 20th. And so if we look at the timeline, so here's the thing. So Blizzard put out this roadmap, and obviously everything in there is an estimate, and it could change at any moment. We still have no War Within Alpha announcement, which I was expecting by this point. We know that Season 4 of Dragonflight is coming in 2 weeks, April 23rd. And we know that patch 10.2.7 is already on the PTR. So, yeah, things are happening. We're probably going to get a Season of Discovery launch sometime in after Cataclysm launch. Some people were speculating that we're going to stick on the 8-week cycle. I can't imagine that that's going to be the case, but I mean, who knows? Maybe we will. I don't know. I think a 12-week phase for Season of Discovery would probably be a little bit better. But anyway, Cataclysm pre-patch April 30th. Cataclysm launch May 20th. So, yeah, if you you have not already gotten your character to level 80, or if there's some things that because some of the achievements are going away, some of the mounts are going to be harder to get. They will go to the modern WoW drop system, which is you got like a 0.1% chance of getting the mount. So yeah, it's your second chance of losing access to Invincible, I guess. All right. Okay. In other news, patch 10.2.7, as I mentioned, is now on the PTR. We do have PTR patch notes for this. And as well, we've got the announcement about the WoW remix, Mr. Pandaria launch, and I'll tell you, this is pretty exciting for me. I read through this a couple times to try and make sure I understood it. It feels like it's going to be a kind of like a Torghast style. You get some really cool buffs that pump up your character. Not in terms of like a roguelike the way that Torghast was, but because it's going to be the Mr. Pandaria quests. And well, here let's just go through the whole thing. All right, so Blizzard put out a blog post about this, and it's pretty straightforward in the blog post, but I don't know. I feel like there's still a lot of questions to be asked. WoW Remix, Mr. Pandaria. World of Warcraft Remix is a limited time event that allows players to re-experience the entirety of the Mr. Pandaria expansion at an accelerated rate from level 10 to 70. All loot has been completely overhauled, as has powerful new effects, allowing players to shape that experience. Power up and power on features include accelerated leveling and content, allowing you to take on nearly every quest, scenario, dungeon, and raid. Create a new WoW Remix character starting at level 10 to adventure through the event up to level 70. A mountain of loot. Get powerful items from everywhere. Quests, chests, creatures, and bosses. Customizable items allow you to power up as far as you can go to take on tougher content. Convert unwanted items into bronze, which can be used to upgrade items or purchase cosmetics. And keep what you collect. Take your collection of transmogs with you into the war within. Okay, so the couple key points here. You're going to create a new character that is only for use in WoW Remix. But at the end of WoW Remix, that character will get moved over to the War Within. So if you have purchased the War Within, you'll be able to play that character. And I guess it doesn't really say, but I'm assuming you'll be able to play it no matter what, as long as you have a WoW subscription. So even if you haven't, so like if you're a classic player, you should be able to log on to your character, even if you haven't purchased the War Within. You just won't be able to go to the new zones and do all this stuff. So, but I don't know. It's one of the questions we don't have an answer to. This sounds like it's going to be a standalone experience. So, will players all be together? Will we be in servers? Will this function like Plunderstorm, where you're going to get into a lobby, or is this going to be like your own scenario experience that you could like invite someone into, or how exactly that's going to work? We don't know. It looks like WoW trial accounts will be able to participate in this, so they'll be able to get up to level 20, and then they can subscribe with game time to continue on their experience. All the content will be available to players from Mr. Pandaria, including heroic raids, and depending on the power-ups you've gotten, you should be able to complete all content by yourself. And then they listed out a bunch of the loot, which, this is all preliminary stuff, but it sounds a lot like maybe some of the stuff that we've gotten in Plunderstorm, or some of the stuff that, like I said, we had in Torghast, where it's just, it makes your character behave a little bit differently. So you're not actually playing a mage the way you normally would. You're playing the mage, but it's like a weird hybrid version of said class. So I don't know. We will see on this. I'm going to talk about this a little bit more when we get to the something new segment. But WoW Remix, Mr. Pandaria. Sounds pretty cool there. Okay. In other news, we had some hot fixes that came in for Season of Discovery. So they tweaked some things with the Nightmare Incursions. So as you may or may not have heard, after launch, the Nightmare Incursions were giving something crazy, 8,000 XP per, and something in the neighborhood of like 4 or 5 gold per quest. And that's because of the 50% XP boost and the 300% gold quest reward boost. So Blizzard had to nerf the quest rewards down. And they also reduced the XP awarded. So they're still lucrative, just not as lucrative. I think they don't want people to completely trivialize the leveling content in Season of Discovery. They want you to actually go and do stuff. But anybody who's been min-maxing they're just sitting in Ashenvale and just pounding these things over and over and over again. So, so they're still good. And they've nerfed some of the kill quests because I guess there was a meta that don't do the kill quests, do the gather quests. So, anyway, given the opportunity, players will optimize the fun out of anything, and that is 100% true. So, as has been reported widely, the bosses in Sunken Temple and some of the trash as well have had their health lowered by various amounts. It's interesting to note that 10 minutes after the nerf went into Shade of Aranicus, that the world first Shade of Aranicus kill occurred. So, I guess it was just mathematically impossible at its something 4 million health or whatever it was. So, yeah, it's we'll get into that later as well. But Sunken Temple nerfed. They said when developing and tuning the Sunken Temple raid encounters, we had concerns about player power going into phase 3, so we aimed high when tuning enemy health. We feel that we aimed too high and have recently deployed a hotfix that lowers the health of all enemies and bosses within the Sunken Temple to help ensure this content remains accessible to all players. We'll be watching progress closely and making additional adjustments as needed in the coming days. Right. So, they shot a little too high. And I'll tell you, if the world first guilds are having a hard time with it, then definitely the noob beer and pretzels dad guilds are going to struggle with it. So, it's unfortunate because this is supposed to be classic and the raids are supposed to be easy, but I think that's the temptation, and we'll get into that in a little bit later with that temptation of wanting to, we got the players, we got them. So anyway, all right. That's all of the news articles. We're going to get into a little bit more detail about Cataclysm Classic and the patch 10.2.7. So we will visit that in a little bit. But first, let's talk about what's going on this week in World of Warcraft.
Let's talk about World of Warcraft.
All right. So as I mentioned earlier, we've got a lot of new topics that we want to get over. So we're going to run through the Dragonflight, what's going on. There's not a whole lot going on this week. We've got Mythic Plus season week 22. This is the second to last week, so enjoy it. The Mythic Plus affixes for the week are Tyrannical, Entangling, and Bursting. So Tyrannical bosses have 30% more health and deal 15% more damage. Entangling vines periodically appear and slow players. Moving away from the vines will snap the vine and remove the debuff. If players do not move from the vine before the debuff expires, players are stunned for 3 seconds. Yeah, see, this one's really fun because you can use movement immunities, Blessing of Freedom, Heroic Leap, stuff like that. You can get out of it. Or you could just run. You could just move. It's like 15 yards or something, really small. So it's not a bad affix to deal with. It is annoying at times. The one I always think of is either Galakron's Fall or Murazon's Rise, where you have to stand in the soak with Chromie or on the tier fight. So that sucks. Then you're stunned. But it's not so bad. And then the final one, Bursting. Non-boss enemies explode on death, causing all players to suffer flat damage that scales with Keystone level. This effect stacks. This one's rough because when you kill a bunch of mobs at once, the bursting adds up fast. So you can't pull huge groups with bursting. It's too much. Unless your healer can really handle it, or people are popping immunities for the big pulls. That's actually that works pretty well. So, but they require some group coordination, and not everyone's got that. So, either way, bursting sucks, but it's not the worst. It's manageable. So Tyrannical Entangling Bursting. I feel like this is, for a Tyrannical week, this is not bad. If you're trying to get your last bit of rating or gear or whatever, this isn't a bad final Tyrannical week to have. But this is our final Tyrannical week for Dragonflight Season 3. So if you need rating for whatever reason, this is your last chance to get it from Tyrannical. So best of luck. The weekly event this week is the Arena Skirmish event. So you get the Sign of the Skirmisher buff, which increases the honor from Arena Skirmishes by 50%. And then you get the quest, The Arena Calls, from Khazra and Valdrakken, which is to win 10 Arena Skirmish battles, and you'll get 110 Conquest and 2,000 honor. This one isn't so bad. It's not as bad as the Battleground bonus event, but Arena Skirmish, whatever. I don't. This is obviously not for me. This is like a Miss Marvel TV show. It's not for me. Okay, Temple of Hot-Mogu is the PvP brawl. Enter the Temple of Hot-Mogu for this fast-paced match. For a whole new twist, players will be able to throw the Orb of Power to a friendly player in a game of Hot Potato. Beware, they'll also gain the debuffs along with the orbs. Choose wisely, returning things up to 11 by changing resurrection time to a quick 5 seconds. Who will hold on to the power to claim their victory? So yeah, you can throw the orbs around. You can you'll run back right after you die, pretty much instantaneously. It's 5 seconds, but there's the loading time and all that. So it moves fast. It's a lot of fun, but it's pretty chaotic. So when you zone in, you'll get to quest something different to win a PvP brawl, and you'll be rewarded with Conquest, Honor, and Marks of Honor. And finally, the Dark Moon Fair is in town until April 13th. That's this Saturday. The fair. I'm constantly extolling the virtues of Dark Moon Fair, which is probably a creepy thing to do. But if you haven't maxed out your professions, either profession skill or knowledge points, go to the fair, do the quests. You'll get both. You can also get reputation with the Dark Moon Fair. For purchasing different transmogs, and I think there's some mounts and some pets, and there's just some really cool things that you can get for doing the fair, in addition to just being kind of a fun little distraction from running Endless Mythic Plus or Endless Arena. So, Dark Moon Fair, I really like. I'm happy that they've continued to work on it and make it something fun. Honestly, they could add something new every expansion, just one thing, and I'd be cool with that. And they've pretty much done that. Although I couldn't tell you what they added this time around. But regardless, Dark Moon Fair, check it out. Enjoy. So, that's pretty much it. I mean, season 3 is winding down. Everybody's getting ready for season 4, so the number of Mythic Plus runs is going down. The number of Pug raids is going down. People are scrambling to get there ahead of the curve before the launch of Season 4, which I don't blame them because, I wanted to get mine. And at this point, it looks like I would have to buy it. And I really don't want to do that. So I probably will not be getting it, which makes me sad, but because I really wanted that Farak mount. But regardless, this is the second to last week for Season 3. And I don't know what next week's affixes are, but I hope they're good ones because I really hate taking out the season in a bad note. I guess we'll see. All right, let's move on to something new.
Let's talk about something new.
All right, this is the real meat and potatoes today. We've got two big news announcements. We've got the Cataclysm Classic launch date, and we've got the patch 10.2.7 PTR going up. So we'll tackle Cataclysm first. The Cataclysm Classic pre-patch will launch on April 30th, and that will include the new player races Worgen and Goblin, the new racing class combinations, things like Human Hunter, Dwarf Mage, stuff like that. Leveling updates, so the entire old world has been changed. And as much as I complain about this and I talk about how much I hate the changes, the quests are better. They're so much more efficient. and smooth. You can go just through follow the story all the way through a zone. It's great. What you can't do, and what you could do back in Classic and TBC, a little bit in Wrath, is go into a zone, grab all the quests, do all the quests, and then go turn in all the quests. You can't do that anymore. You get 1 or 2 quests at a time, and then you turn those in, and it gives you 2 more. And you turn zone, and it gives you 2 more. So, from that standpoint, it's not as fun. It's not as much fun, at least for me. But it's that's how modern WoW is, and that's how WoW has been since 2010 when Cataclysm originally came out. So, WoW is more that style of questing than the original style of questing. But old people like me, that's what we remember. So, yeah. Okay. Class updates, new talents, trees, spells, and more. So yeah, the new talent trees. So it's still a talent tree like in Classic, TBC, and Wrath, but instead you choose your specialization first, and then once you've chosen your specialization, you have to go put 31 points into it, or get all the way to the bottom tree, and then you can open up additional talent trees. So you have to go all the way down one tree. They've kind of cleaned this. This is like a clunky version of the Mr. Pandaria talent trees because they've taken out some of the fluff and just left in the really good stuff. But it is a talent tree, not a talent choice, like in Mr. Pandaria and through Shadowlands. So, yeah, I mean, these are good. It's a good compromise, but you can see where they went with it, and whether you like that system or not, this is definitely heading that direction. So, okay. New profession, archaeology. Oh, what? Oh, yeah, archaeology's coming in. Yeah. New feature, transmog collection, and updated character and gear stats. So, yeah, they're changing some of the secondary stats, and yeah. There's a lot of changes, and this is all what's coming in with the pre-patch. This will be here in a little over 2 weeks, right? Yeah. Oh no, April 30th is it's a Tuesday. Why are they doing it on a Tuesday? Come on, what happened to Thursday, Blizz? So 1, 2, just under 3 weeks. So yeah, pretty cool. And then I guess that's when all of the Wrath of the Lich King achievements and things are going to go away, like Insane in the Membrane is going away, and a couple of other ones. And yeah, what's coming in with the launch of Cataclysm Classic? Well, on May 20th, we will get the levels will go up to 85. Players will be able to go through the new zones, which include Mount Hyjal, Vashir, Twilight Highlands, Uldum, Deepholm, and then the starting zones of Kazan and Gilneas, which you can't really do unless you start a Goblin or a Worgen. And you can't, I mean, you can go to Gilneas, but it doesn't really do anything for you because there's nothing there. It's just a shell. 9 new dungeons: Blackrock Caverns, Throne of the Tides. Every Mythic Plus player just shivered. Vortex Pinnacle, the Stone Core, the Lost City of the Tol'vir, Halls of Resignation, Grim Batol, Dead Mines, and Shadowfang Keep. So they did the reworks of Dead Mines and Shadowfang Keep, which I really like the new Shadowfang Keep. I don't like the new Dead Mines as well because I just liked the way it was before, but it's fine. It's not bad. So we get the introduction of the Dungeon Journal, which is so tremendously helpful. It's not as helpful in and I don't know what iteration it's going to be in Cataclysm because I didn't get onto the beta, but whatever it is, it's going to be better than what they have now, which is nothing. All right, 3 new raid dungeons. It's interesting how they phrase that. Raid dungeons. Let's just call it a raid. 3 new raids: Throne of the Four Winds, Blackwing Descent, and Bastion of Twilight. These were good raids. I didn't like Blackwing Descent as well, but Bastion of Twilight was really good. And Throne of the Four Winds is actually not bad. The bosses were interesting. Yeah, so the new raid, those are just the raids that come with Phase 1. They'll get more raids later. The boss-based raid lock system. So that way players can do either the 10 or the 25 player version of each boss the same week. So the lockouts are based on the boss. So you're not getting the 10 or 25, or it's not like you could do both. You can do one or the other. So you're only going to get loot from whichever one you do first. So if you do 10 player first, you'll get the 10 player loot. And the loot is the same, but you just get more loot when you do it on 25 player because you have more players to distribute loot to. And I feel like this is a nothing issue. This is just whatever. But it's not like the retail version or the modern WoW version of the game where each iteration of a boss is a different loot. So I guess normal and heroic will be on different loot availability. So I guess you could still do normal and then do heroic. So that would be fine because that's basically what we have in Modern WoW. And there just is no 10 and 25 player raids in Modern WoW because everything is flex up until Mythic. So anyway, so the lockouts will be based on the boss. You'll be able to do one or the other, not both. So no more running 10 player raids to supplement your 25 player raids or whatever. You'll get the new Tolbarad PvP zone, which they kind of expanded on the whole Winter Grasp idea, but to me Tolbarad was kind of meh. As the kids say, it was mid. I didn't really enjoy that one as well. I did do all of the I forget the name of the faction, but I got exalted with the faction on Tolbarad because I wanted the mount, the Drake of the East Wind or whatever it is. So I got that and it was really cool. But the PvP there was kind of the new Dark Moon Island will be in the game. So instead of having to go to Mulgore or Elwyn Forest, we will all go to Dark Moon Island. Every time the fair comes to town, there will be a portal in Elwyn Forest and Mulgore, and it will take you to the new Dark Moon Island. So it's really cool, and it'll be interesting to see it on its Cataclysm because I don't remember what it was like back then. I played WoW back then. Obviously, I've been playing WoW since 2005, but I don't remember exactly what it was because Dark Moon Fair they've been adding stuff to it for years. So as I mentioned previously, so it'll be kind of fun. And finally, the big change, flying in the Eastern Kingdoms and Kalimdor. So this is one thing that people asked for. They just didn't realize the cost was going to be we lose the old zones as they were, which it makes sense because those old zones were not designed for flying. So you have to completely redesign them from the ground up. That's what lost us a raid tier. So the story goes. The urban legend about Cataclysm is the flying and the zone reworks cost us a raid tier. So, all right, that's what's coming in on May 20th with the launch of Cataclysm Classic. They're putting in all of the achievements, or they're modifying the achievements for like Lore Master and things like that. So if you've already completed Lore Master, you won't lose your achievement. But if you've made progress towards Lore Master, then you're going to lose some progress. If the quest was removed from the game, then it's not going to count. So you'll just have to either finish it up within the next couple weeks, or just know that you're going to have to kind of clean some of those achievements up. And then, as I mentioned before, the Insane of the Membrane Feat of Strength will no longer be available with the release of Cataclysm Classic. So, like I said, Cataclysm had some really good content. I really liked the dungeons in Cataclysm. I can't think of one that I really didn't like. Maybe I didn't like some of them as well as some of the others. But overall, really good, really strong dungeon pool. Even the weak ones like the Dead Mines is still really solid. And then of course you've got the raids, which the first 3 raids were fine. They weren't amazing. Then you got Firelands, which was really good, and then you got Dragonsoul, which was kind of meh. So I'd say overall they're good. The raids are good. It's not a bad mix. But the questing changed way too dramatically for my taste. And it's going to be really hard to go back to Cataclysm and play, because I remember playing in Cataclysm and it was hard. I felt bad because all those characters that I knew, the NPCs, were all gone. And I felt this weird attachment to them, even though it's a non-player character, by its very nature. It's not a real person. But I felt bad. I didn't like it. I did like the Worgen starting area, and actually the Goblin starting area is probably one of my favorites of all time. I mean, you drive around in that car and get your radio going. I mean, it's so cool. It's so well designed. I really like the Goblin starting area. So yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot in there and there's a lot to do, but you know, they changed everything. And this is no longer classic as far as I'm concerned. I mean, yes, it is technically classic, but it just doesn't feel like a classic game. It feels like a modern game, just an old version of a modern game. So anyway, all right, that's Cataclysm Classic. As far as the patch 10.2.7. All right, so first off, we have the WoW Remix Miss Pandaria event that we already mentioned at the top of the news, which sounds like a lot of fun. Like I said, there are questions that I still have about this, but the idea that you can customize your character and you're basically building a transmog collecting machine. So I like that. You're going to get transmog mounts, pets, all sorts of stuff, and you get to take everything with you into the War Within, which I think is fantastic. So I'm really hoping that it's fun. It sounds like fun. And we'll do a little bit more about it. I'm sure we're going to see some stuff this weekend about how it works, and then I'll have plenty to talk about for next week. All right. Coming in patch 10.2.7, we are going to get heritage armor for Draenei and Troll races. The heritage armor quest lines will not be available for testing on the PTR. Yeah, no shit. Added 6 new hair colors for Kultiran. Okay. The Hunter pet stable has been updated. Okay, so it's been not redesigned, but it's been tweaked, let's say. The pet preview window is larger. More information about the pet is displayed, including a list of abilities. Okay. Pets can be favorited and added to a separate group at the top of the stable list. I like that. The stable list is now searchable and sortable by name, specialization, abilities, and more. Okay, really like that. Pets can now be renamed directly from the stable without certificate items. Fantastic. Thank you. Like, I can't change my dog's name. Come on, Blizz, what are you doing? Sorry, Finn. Pets can now be released directly from the stable without needing to be summoned. That's great too. And for the Beast Mastery specialization, the pet that is summoned by the Animal Companion talent now has a dedicated slot next to the active pet list. Tooltip has been updated to reflect this change. That is great, because I always struggle with, where do I have to put this pet so that I know that this is the one's going to come out? Because I like my Animal Companion pet to match my main pet, so because I'm weird like that. But yeah, this is great. Hunters, I played a hunter since vanilla, and yeah, the pet stable system has always been kind of clunky. Even after they updated it a few years ago, it's still a little clunky. So this is good. Okay. Quests. All Dragonflight quests that previously became available with renown levels are now available to all max level player characters, regardless of renown. Wow, finally. It only took you until the last patch of Dragonflight to open everything up. Way to go. Come on, this is so dumb. Why? If renown is not required, then you shouldn't hide quests behind renown. It's just so brain dead. Why? God, that's so frustrating. At least it's done now. It's fixed. But that sort of gatekeeping that Blizzard does that drives me crazy. Why? Why do you need to do that? Make it time gated. That's fine. But don't tie it to renown. I don't want to have to go grind Maruk Centaur rep just so I can see what happens in the story. Makes me so fucking angry. All right. New questline, Sins of the Sister. A night elf has arrived at Belemeth to bury the family she lost at Teldrassil, but when her deceased sister is revealed to be a traitor, will the night elves show her sister forgiveness or demand accountability for her sins? Level 70 players can speak with Malfurion Stormage at the Terrace of the Moon in Belemeth to accept the quest an uncommon request and start this questline. Interesting. I find it interesting that they felt the need to point out this one quest line. So maybe there's something going on here? I don't know. Be interesting. So, yeah, maybe setting some groundwork for the War Within or something. We shall see. Okay, several changes have been made to the user interface, particularly the Mythic Plus groups in the group pre-made group finder. This has always driven me crazy, and they've cleaned it up a little bit. And I did log on to the PTR and check this out. And it's better. I have an add-on that I use that provides most of this stuff, but whenever you have an add-on to do something and then it gets baked into the interface, it's going to be a little bit different than the add-on, but eventually you get used to it, and then it's just built in and you don't need to use the add-on anymore. So I'm rather have that. But so you get a filter button. So it lets you filter for specific dungeons, your role, whether or not it's available. So you can say like damage dealers roles available or whatever. Whether or not your class is already in the group. So if, like, I was on my monk and it actually had that as an option, no monk in the group. So I could check that box, and then any group that has a monk in it, gone. So that's pretty cool. Tank or healer already in group, which is good luck with that. Yeah. Minimum mythic plus rating of the leader, which, okay, that's fine. And then the difficulty, whether or not you want a mythic 0 or a mythic plus or heroic or normal. Although, why would you get into the group finder to find a group for normal dungeon? I don't know. Anyway, okay. In addition, the role icons on each listing now show class colors, so you can see the current group makeup at a glance, which is really nice. Again, like I said, I have an add-on that does that, but it'll be cool to have that baked into the interface. The listing tooltip now shows the leader's info in a more readable format for their mythic plus rating, the highest key now for the dungeon, and the highest key for all dungeons. Which is good. Kind of helps you vet out the group. It's like in a job interview. You know, they're not just interviewing you. You're also interviewing them. Remember that. The listing tooltip now shows info for all members of the group, including their specialization and Mythic Plus rating. Implementation pending. Haven't gotten that one quite right yet. Okay, that's fine. The listing tooltip now shows the dungeon raid name and difficulty, which is really nice because sometimes people put it for one thing and then change the name to something else. And you're like, is this for... Are we doing Throne of the Tides or are we doing Everbloom? I'm not sure. Not sure which one is which. A helpful tutorial has been added to teach players that they can search a key range for precise results. For example, 6 to 10 or 7 to 7, which I do that. So I knew that already, Blizzard, huh? Groups that no longer fit your filter criteria are marked with a red background. For example, if you select damage roll available and a listed group filled up on damage dealers. So it's not going to hide it. It's just going to mark it red in the background. So you'll still see it, but that just lets you know that you missed out, you know. So I hope you have your FOMO shoes on. Groups you are hard to decline from are automatically marked in red and sorted to the bottom. Okay, so my Fury Warrior is going to have a lot of red on the bottom. Good job. Thanks, Blizz. I feel better now. In the leader applicants pane, the applicant tooltip now shows the applicant's info in a more readable format. Their Mythic Plus rating, their highest key for the listed dungeon, and their highest key for all dungeons. Okay, so anyway, it's making there more visibility both ways for the leader of the group and for the people applying for the group. So very cool. All right. Other items. Recipes can now be tracked from the crafting orders window. Okay, very cool. An option has been added to the auction house filters to show only current expansion items. Oh, hallelujah. Finally. Why did this take so long to get in the game? Come on. Oh, I hate having to scroll through. Like, you're looking for an enchant and you're like, oh, I gotta scroll through all this crap until I find the one. Okay. Good job, Liz. Thank you for adding. I like these little tiny quality of life implementations. It's like, okay, cool. I needed that. Okay, the location of dragon raiding races can now be toggled in the map filter. Very cool. That because it's very important for the achievement to get your good boy mount, the Tavian mounts. You have to do all the dragon riding races, so it would help to know where they're located. You can now create or find a group participating in a scenario by clicking the group finder icon on the scenario objective. Okay, cool. The number of helpful tooltips that appear when logging on to a new character has been reduced. You mean I'm not going to get spammed with all the... Could you make it so that it doesn't show me every time I have a knowledge point to spend? I left that on purpose. I don't want to spend it. All right. Mount tooltips now show the category of the mount belongs to: ground, aquatic, flying, or dragon riding, which is cool. And in the trading post, mount categories are also ground, aquatic, flying, or dragon riding will now be shown in the trading post details panel. And the level requirement for using a mount will be shown in the trading post details panel. Yeah. So the things that we don't have yet in any information on, we got the blog post on the Pandaria remix, but there's obviously going to be a lot more information coming on that. We don't have anything on the Xalatath quest line. They did data mine a new model, in-game model for Xalatath, so that'll be really cool. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this patch. A lot of just kind of cleaning up some of the interface and kind of setting some things up for the future. The PTR testing for the Pandaria remix will be April 12th through 14th. So that's this Friday through Sunday. So if you want to get on the PTR and check that out, you can do that. Just copy your character over, copy your account data, and you can just do whatever. I'm not sure how that'll work. Like if you'll have to create a new character on the PTR or what, but I guess we'll see on April 12th. So yeah, that's it for the patch notes. Now, I did want to highlight one other thing about the remix. So they have the zones broken out, and it's kind of interesting the way that they do this. But so it's level 10 to 70 Jade Forest. You have some scenarios, you have some dungeons. Then level 20 to 70, you get Valley of the Four Winds and the Krasarang Wilds, and then some more scenarios, and then another dungeon. Kunlai Summit from level 25 to 70, more scenarios, dungeon, and a raid. So you can do Mogashan Vaults at level 25. And then it just continues on. And then from 60 to 70, you get Siege of Orgrimmar, and then at level 70, you get access to heroic raids. Now, I'm curious to see how this works, because if we're expected to be able to do this at level 70 heroic raid, I really hope that it's not requiring it, that there's not a requisite for you to have gotten certain abilities in order for you to be able to solo this. I don't want to have to get into a position now where it's like, oh, well, you need to join a group to do the raid. Please, Blizzard, don't make me join a group. Unless I choose to join a group, that's fine, but don't make me join a group. Yeah, I mean, it sounds good. It really does. It sounds really good. But yeah, there's a lot of questions that I have answers to. And the other thing, of course, is that we don't know how this is going to work with players and with servers. So are players all going to be on one server? As I mentioned before, are they going to be in a lobby? Or is it going to be just one instance, but everything's sharded? I don't know. Or do you create a WoW Remix character on your server? So like I'm on Azeroth. So what I create my WoW Remix character on Azeroth, but it's a Remix only character. So I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. So that could be a reason to create a character on a new server. Maybe if you want more population, or on a small server. If you're like, I'm on Illidan and there's too many people here, so I need to move to a different server so I can have less people, less competition. So yeah, we'll find out more information next week or this weekend, and then I'll put that in the podcast for next week. And I will be trying to get the podcast out a little bit earlier in the week. I like to do it on Monday night, Tuesday morning. I had, like I said before, I had some IRL things going on this week, so I could not do it. Yeah, that's where we are. All right, so I think that is it for something new. We're going to move on now to the weekly rant.
It's time for the weekly rant.
All right. You knew it had to happen with the whole Sunken Temple fiasco of the boss being unkillable on release. I had to come back and discuss this. Yeah, I'm frustrated. I'm really frustrated with Season of Discovery right now. I've been having so much fun in Season of Discovery, but this really just dampened my spirit. And not because, oh my gosh, Blizzard just ruined it. It's the philosophy behind Season of Discovery that has slowly started to creep out of what we thought was a kind of a fun mix on vanilla WoW, and turns out it's kind of bringing those modern WoW philosophies into vanilla. And some of it might be because players are just different now, and you have to approach it from a different way, and that's fine. I get that. But the runes, the rune quests have gotten more and more complicated to the point that I cannot do a rune quest on my own anymore. I have to go through Wowhead. I have to read through everything. They're so complicated. It's so difficult. It's no a matter of, oh, I got a drop. Cool. Let me see what it does. No, it's like, did you get that book in that one room, in that one tower, in that one location that you forgot about? Oh, you didn't? Guess you can't get your rune now. So, but anyway, that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is the raid difficulty. And so I ran the numbers, and the numbers really don't tell. They don't support my my rant here. And this is a rant. This is not a This is not my thesis, so I can kind of fudge things a little bit. Now, when WoW is easy, it's fun. But when it's too easy, it's not fun. Like, for example, Ruby Sanctum. The world first kill of Ruby Sanctum Classic in Wrath of the Lich King Classic was on January 11th, and it took place at 6:12 p.m. Eastern Time. The raid launched at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, which means that world first kill was 12 minutes in. That might be a little too fast. Ice Crown Citadel, Heroic Lich King killed an hour and 34 minutes in. Okay, I mean, fine. If you go back to Burning Crusade, because the Naxxramas raid, Naxxramas Obsidian Sanctum, and Eye of Eternity did not launch with Wrath. But in Burning Crusade, all the raids, or all the 3 raids in Phase 1 launched when the game went live. So as soon as players got to level 70, they could go straight into the raid if they wanted to. Or they had to attune themselves. But you get what I'm saying. Given that, all of the effort that had to go into leveling and attuning and all that prep work, the world first kill or clear of Karazhan in the Burning Crusade was 25 hours and 51 minutes in. Now, wrap your brain around that. That means that these people leveled to 70, got attuned, and cleared the place in a day, which is nuts. But that's in line with Classic. Cruel Slayer, 20 hours and 34 minutes. Even in Season Discovery, Black Fathom Deeps, 17 hours and 44 minutes. Nobragon, 12 hours and 32 minutes. And then we get to Sunken Temple. And first of all, nobody killed it before the nerf. So Irenicus got a 33% nerf, and then the guild None of the Above cleared it. And that was at 29 hours and 59 minutes. Okay. So yes, they had to level, but there was no attunement. You just show up. The bosses were just too hard. They couldn't clear it. The next guild that cleared it after None of the Above was the guild Drive, who cleared it in 49 hours and 8 minutes. So it just goes up. 50 hours, 51 hours, etc. So I wanted to make a comparison to Modern WoW because I thought, okay, is Season of Discovery turning into Modern WoW? And no, it is not. Because if we go back, Vault of the Incarnates, the first raid of the Dragonflight expansion, the world first kill of Razageth on Mythic was 217 hours and 40 minutes in to the season. So granted, that's not continuous. A lot of that was sleep and eating and things like that, but they did spend a lot of time working on that boss. Aberrus, which many consider to be one of the easiest raids in a long time in retail WoW, 146 hours. Amir Jasil, the Tindril and Farak fights were way overtuned. And actually there was a nerf that went in that first week. Echo, first kill, 295 hours in. And it just goes on. Castle Nathria, 197 hours. Sanctum of Domination, 164 hours. Now, the Sepulchre of the first ones is an anomaly because Blizzard tried to make that super hard for reasons. I'm not even sure why. And they split it up and had the Mythic mythic raid. Well, no. So the players couldn't even see the bosses on normal or heroic the first week because they weren't even available. And then the second week when mythic launched, that was the first time anyone had seen those bosses. So Lords of Dread, Rygalon, and the Jailer. But anyway, the Jailer, first kill, 439 hours in. 439 hours. So that was an anomaly, of course. But the point is, we're talking hundreds of hours between the launch of the phase or the season and the kill of the boss. Whereas with Sunken Temple, you're looking at about 1.5 to 2 days worth of real world time to clear the boss. Now, granted, that was with a nerf. Now, could these players have done it without the nerf? Maybe they eventually could have done it. You figure out, I need this thing that I can get, and I need this gear. I need to change that. I need to stack these healers with this gear. You got to kind of make a broken raid group so that you can. But that's the point. You shouldn't have to do that. This is classic, and this is a level up raid. That's way too much effort. This should have been cleared at the most 20 hours in without a nerf. And Josh Greenfield, Agrand, even tweeted about how proud he was that the raid was still standing after more than a day. Like, haha, we did it. We beat the WoW players. No, you didn't. That's not your job. Your job is not to defeat the players. Your job is to lose convincingly. But your job is to lose. So, put up a challenge? Yes. Put up a fight? Yes. Don't let the players proceed? No. That's bad. You don't want players to go, hey, that was too hard. Hey, this is way too much work. We couldn't do this. We had to change our completely change our group. No, you should be able to do this with a group of friends who go in there and they're either drinking beer or having, mixed drinks or whatever, and you're munching on food and you're talking shit in Discord. That's what Season of Discovery should be about. It should be about hanging out with your friends and having a good time. Not this. And it wasn't even that the bosses were hard. It's that they were way overtuned. The mechanics weren't difficult. They were just absurdly overtuned. Beyond anything that is reasonable. And so what did that get you? That got you a player base that's frustrated. A player base that's upset. And yeah, they can go ahead and clear it now. That's fine. But what did that cost you? What did that take? And I'm a big proponent of testing. I work in IT. That's what I do for my job. And I get the reason why they're not testing things with Season of Discovery. I get it. But you kind of have to do some testing. And I sure hope they're doing a good amount of testing at Blizzard HQ, because otherwise, what are we even doing here? If they're not thoroughly testing these raids and they're just throwing them out there and going, well, I sure hope this works. Really? That's how this is going? So I had to step away from Season of Discovery. My Paladin's at 44. I was so irritated by this whole thing because, to me, I feel like they're missing the whole point. This is not what people asked for. This is not what people wanted. Nobody wanted hard raids in Classic. Nobody wants difficulty on this. The difficult part is getting a group of people together. That should be the hardest part. Anything beyond that, and it's just, if you're bad, okay, fine. And I don't have a problem if you're bad. That's fine. You deserve to kill the boss too, but we're not going to make it so easy that you can do it without trying. So if you're bad, then you got to work on your playing skills or make your character a little better. That's fine. I mean, I fall into the bad category. Don't misunderstand. I struggle with every single boss encounter in retail. I do. Because I don't know everything by heart, and I'm not always sure where to stand, or do I go over here? Do I stay over there? So I get it. It's fine. But anyway, yeah, this whole Sunken Temple raid thing, and I truly feel like it would have gone on. We could have hit 100 hours before a world first kill if they hadn't nerfed it? Maybe somebody would have done it. But regardless, they shouldn't have to. That's not what this is about. This is about hanging out and having a good time. So anyway, that's it for the show today. It was so frustrating to see that going in and to know that the developers are kind of cheering at themselves for making a really good raid. And it's like, yeah, you did, but I don't know. It's frustrating. All right. That's it for our show today. Thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. As always, it's a pleasure and a privilege to get on this microphone and talk to you. If you want to contact me, if you want to reach out to me, if you have a question about the show, or if you have a topic that you'd like to hear us discuss, or if you just want to say hi, you can email me at denethar1@gmail.com, or you can reach me on Twitter. I am at Denethar. Twitter is probably the best way to get a hold of me because email's a little weird. I get so much junk email in there. So yeah, if you want to get a hold of me, you can do that through those methods. I will occasionally stream on Twitch or YouTube. I am at Denethar01 on both of those platforms. I'm also on Blue Sky, but I don't really log on there. Maybe once every couple weeks. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just let that one die on the vine. Yeah. So that's it. All right. Anyway, thank you very much. Remember to be kind to each other out there. That bad player is it's still a real person. It's still a human being, and they have real feelings. And so try not to be too mean. And just smile, and we're all here together on this earth, and it doesn't hurt to be friendly. So, all right, take care. I love you all, and I'll see you in Azeroth.